So Obama is just a big Chicago machine, corrupt thug. Now look at this. I want to shift gears into another subject. I have interviewed Ben Livingston, the meteorologist, the father of weather weapons. The guy's amazing. World War II vet, flew into, hurricanes are in our side of the world, and they only go up to about 200 miles an hour. They can go up to 250, 300 miles an hour, and they call them typhoons. Flew into typhoons. He was there leading fighter squadrons in Vietnam, manipulating. He would go in where there were no clouds and make it rain 10 feet on the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Just amazing. And I got sent documents by a listener going, this was just declassified. I think it was 2002. Well, PrisonPlanet.tv members can watch the Ben Livingston interviews, but the point is, and they got ripped to the YouTube channel, so it's out there, but in high quality for PrisonPlanet.tv members. The issue is that he was the father of weather weapons. He got Stanford Research Institute to develop it. He became the head of the, it was the Navy, after that, the Navy Weapons Laboratory. Just an amazing individual. And he flew these fighter jets into typhoons. He did all of this stuff. He was the first guy to fly into hurricanes and typhoons. And by 1967, they had certified that they could kill hurricanes, make hurricanes, weaken hurricanes, strengthen hurricanes. And he said with today's technologies, back then it would take 100 aircraft. With 8 aircraft, he could go in and kill a hurricane or make a hurricane. And he was calling for a Department of Weather to control the weather. And he also runs a big weather control operation. He's their chief meteorologist. He got some heat coming on the show, and he's still a nice guy, but he won't come on after he originally came on because he got a lot of heat from the spooks. We kind of snuck up on folks because I got the documents from a listener. It was nowhere in the news. I checked the National Archives, found they'd just been declassified 6 months before. These listeners giving us tips. I called Ben Livingston up and I said, I'd like to have you on the radio. Had him on. Suddenly it was Fox News, CNN, but still they hadn't interviewed him. I said, fly here next week. I want to interview you. That's going to be in the chemtrail film. But the issue is that he got here and he got into weather control. Now, that's separate from HARP and all these other technologies. But the issue is they could control hurricanes in 67. That's 40 years ago, isn't it? Yeah, 40 years ago. 42, 3 years ago. So then they say there's no weather control. And then we started noticing in the mid-90s that suddenly condensation trails were forming at 2,000 or 3,000 feet in the summer. Impossible. And they were staying there for hours when they'd always disappeared, even at high altitudes, in a few minutes. And then we started getting reports of low-altitude spraying, high-altitude spraying, helicopter spraying, declassified admissions of spraying Subtilis globigii bacteria all over New Mexico, all over Texas, Oklahoma, killing people with it. That was in the Daily Oklahoman. All of this is going on and happening. And still you're called a kook if you talk about it. And then I began to interview meteorologists and climatologists on this show and weathermen from major TV stations going, no, yeah, you can see them spraying here. And now in Florida news, they go, look at all these lines sprayed. The government's doing that, but it doesn't look like chaff. Chaff's in a small area. It was, like the whole area blocking storms about to hit, I guess, to keep the drought going. And so everybody, all these meteorologists who learned that this isn't normal, they're now going, oh, that's because there's new phenomena, new clouds, new systems being discovered. And it's normal to have barium salts and aluminum dioxide raining down. And we said, folks, it's at least a weather modification program with a bunch of other programs rolled in. Then listeners began to email us 2 years ago going, high-altitude aerosol spraying. Google that. So I Googled it. And it was thousands. Department of Energy, the Japanese Department of Energy, German Department of Energy and Power, and British, and all these countries, and NASA saying we've dimmed the Earth by 20% for its safety, and kids' textbooks. They always tell parents, there's no plan to chip you, but then the kids' textbooks say we're going to chip you, it's good. There's a world government, it's good, in the textbooks, and they tell parents, it doesn't exist, but your kid's being taught it's good. The weird psychological warfare going on. Textbooks saying it was happening, and then a few months ago, his head of science department comes out, Obama, and says, oh, we're going to spray the skies with barium salts and aluminum dioxide to save the Earth from global warming. When the science actually shows it's causing warming, which they may need to do. It looks like we're going into an ice age, and they're trying to block it. And they would do that. It would really be an ice age. They're trying to block it. And they said, we got to have a carbon tax to control us saying it's heat. So they can then, as we get cold, say that they saved us from that. I don't know what they're doing. Can they use the weather weapons they admittedly have to cause all these problems and then say, oh, look, it's climate change. Do what we want. That's what witch doctors would do thousands of years ago. Every time there was a problem, they'd say the hoodoo god had done it or whatever. It's all psychology. It's all chicanery and scams and bamboozling people. But we know they have weather weapons. We know the program's going on. And then suddenly they just come out and say, okay, we're doing test. Thousands of agencies around the world and companies and tens of billions of dollars we know of a year. I mean, you can go spend the entire weekend. It's Friday. Go look at chemtrails admitted or passive and non-passive aerosol altitude spraying campaigns. Google terms like that. Tens of thousands of hits, universities, how they're spraying, the tests they did, how it's added to jet fuel, dispersed out of the engines. Just, it's all compartmentalized. It goes through the jet fuel companies. They put it in there, and some of them actually have sprayers. Some of the systems dispersed and aerosolized with the particula, the nuclei out of the aircraft. I mean, it's just like they put sodium fluoride in the water, and it's compartmentalized, and the idiot pouring it in at the water plant, he thinks it's good. He's not bad. Like doctors giving people Vioxx, it's killing them. They think it's good. Meanwhile, Merck's got hit teams out taking people out. It's in mainstream federal courts, and nobody cares. I mean, do you understand the magnitude of the insanity of all this? And so I have this AP article, and I saw this a year ago. This is June 11th from yesterday. But I saw universities debating. Previously, there were 3 kinds of clouds. Now they're saying there's 3 or 4 other new types. And there's these weird little clouds that they say form in trails and have chemicals in them, and they fall on us, and they don't know where they come from, and are space particles coalescing in the atmosphere. And the scientists can't say it's man-made, so they're going, I don't know, there's new clouds now. Here's AP right here, ladies and gentlemen. But to discredit it, they don't focus in on all the scientists, meteorologists, climatologists saying this. They focus in on a woman's photo and act like there's this big debate in meteorology and climatology and those that are studying hydrology in the ocean. This is PSYOP. They make it about a woman who took a photo, so now there's a debate about it. Because usually they would deny this. Oh, I'm seeing clouds at 1,000 feet that are weird chemicals, and they burn your eyes when they hit the ground. They look like chemical sprays. You saw an alien. You take photos. Oh, you photoshopped that. You walk outside. They're everywhere, and they're going, that's normal. It's like body snatchers or something. Just go to sleep. That's a metaphor for turning your intellect off, and everything will be all right. Sleep, sleep. Iowa woman's photo sparks push for new cloud type. AP, looking out the 11th floor window of her law office, Jane Wiggins did a double take and grabbed her camera. The dark, undulating clouds hovering outside weren't like anything she'd seen before. It looked like Armageddon, said Wiggins, a paralegal and amateur photographer in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The shadows of the clouds, the lights and the darks, and the greenish yellow backdrop, they seemed to change. Yeah, chemical clouds will do that. First time I ever saw it was a naturally occurring. They didn't do it on purpose. Over chemical plants in Houston. A weird little green cloud at 1,000 feet, toxic cloud. They dissipated within 15 minutes, but with the photos Wiggins captured in June 2006 intrigue and stumped a group of dedicated weather watchers who are now pushing weather authorities to create a new cloud category, something that hasn't been done since 1951. Breaking into the cloud family would require serving layers of skeptical reviews. Still, Gavin and his England-based Cloud Appreciation Society are determined to establish a new variety. And it goes on. The new variety, just look at NASA public satellite photos. In fact, let's pull up the time we have left. We'll see if we can do it in the last segment. Google live NASA satellite West Coast. And let's go look at California and see all the lines sprayed. And then there's meteorology of the whole country, everywhere, just lines everywhere. And you'll see a weather front coming in, and the planes come in and put it in front of it to block it. I mean, they're spraying us 24/7, and the White House admits it. They've gone so far. Now there's all these new little green clouds raining things down on us, and they're going, they don't exist. Anyways, it's just amazing, absolutely amazing. I got some final